too quickly here, but lot to do in these last couple of weeks. But we are rounded down to the end. That's for sure.
It seems quick. I know it's really not, but
no, it's very quick.
It's very quick.
It's like every year just seems to go faster and faster, and it just seems like we just started this school year for sure. It's been a great year for Greensburg schools, and great bunch of kids and parents, and everybody can use a break though for a few months and get re-energized and be ready for, I guess, 2025, 2026.
Crazy, right?
It is.
Fast. Well, you guys have got some news to kind of talk about this morning.
Yeah, I brought Mike in with me this morning. Mike Myers, principal at the high school. We're going to talk about a new addition to Greensburg schools, actually a new school for Greensburg schools. We have a new school number for it and are registered with the state of Indiana. We're going to have the Greensburg Junior Senior Virtual School next year.
Very interesting.
It is interesting. It's one of those things I really was anticipating Greensburg schools moving towards, but we have been losing a substantial number of kids over the last few years who are choosing the virtual route. I think maybe COVID had a little bit to do with that. Some kids got involved with the virtual aspect of schooling. They liked it, and so they're choosing to stay with it. And now they're leaving Greensburg schools and are going to other districts that offer a virtual option. And so we looked into it, and we did a lot of research over the last year. Mike and Matt Clifford at the junior high have done a lot of work putting this together for Greensburg schools, and we're going to offer that option to kids not only in our school district but in surrounding districts. We don't have any goal as far as having 1,000 kids in a virtual school, but we'd like to just maintain the kids that are from our district that are choosing to go somewhere else, and maybe some of the kids that are choosing from surrounding districts to do virtual to allow us to provide those services for them. So it's kind of a new concept. Mike and Matt Clifford, who's the principal at the junior high, who just walked in with us, he's going to join us for the conversation. They did a lot of work and research into putting this together, and I think it has a lot of potential to help those that choose that option. So.
How would you, and you may not have the statistic, but percentage-wise, like as of now, do you know how many have left for a virtual school that you may anticipate coming back to this?
Well, I can't really say anticipate coming back. We hope they come back.
Yes.
But really over the last probably 3 to 4 years, we've lost over 100 kids that have chosen to go virtual. And when you look at that, that's a lot of revenue to the district that we can use for all of our programs, not just the virtual program. We'll be providing resources to kids that choose to go virtual from Greensburg schools, but we just can't afford to continue to lose more and more kids that we can offer that option right here at home.
All right, so this will be, it's a separate school, separate number, so tell us a little bit about how that'll work.
Yeah, so, excuse me, what we're looking at here, it's going to be grades 6 through 12, and our name is the Greensburg Junior Senior Virtual School. Our director of the virtual school setting is going to be housed out of the Learning Center. And from there, that's a place to meet with families, to be able to troubleshoot. If a kid does need to come in, at different times for any kind of assistance, we'll have that ready to go for the student and the family. And at the same time, we are partnering with Indiana Online, which is housed out of Indianapolis, and they have fully accredited licensed teachers that'll be running the programs. The students will be attending school 4 days a week with a normal schedule of, math at 8 o'clock, English at 9 o'clock, history at 10 o'clock, where they're checking in. They have a teacher that is there with them. And then on 1 day a week, they'll have, kind of a seminar day to get caught up and have office hours with their teachers.
All right, so as you started to kind of research this, what direction, where do you get the directive from it to do the online school? Is that come from the state, like still Department of Education, or is there a different governing body for that?
Yeah, so it's regulated by the state, just like any other public school is regulated. So to be a person in our virtual school setting, you have to be an Indiana resident. You have to show proof of residency for that, just like you do if you're registering here at Greensburg or Decatur County Schools, wherever. And then there are guidelines. They still have to meet all those minimum classroom hour expectations. They still have to come in and do all the state assessments and do all the testing. So that's one of those things that our coordinator and families who are enrolling will have to understand up front, that you're not just going to always have to stay at home. You're going to have to come on site and take your SAT and take your iLearn wherever you are in terms of that process. So all that guidance comes from the DOE.
Now, what about doing sports and those kind of things? Is that still a possibility with doing virtual, or does that change?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of both. There are some restrictions, but we want everybody to understand the reason why we're approaching it this way is we want these kids to have that Greensburg Schools experience. We want them to be a part of this. It also opens up some scheduling opportunities, but they can participate if they want to come in and be a part of the drama club. They can come and be a part of the drama club. The only restriction to that really is athletics, just because there's some other guidance and restrictions there. Mike, I don't know if we want to elaborate on that.
And a lot of it deals with the IHSAA and making sure that we're following the proper procedures and everything. It doesn't change. We still have students who are homeschooled in the traditional homeschool pattern, and they come and they attend at least one class in the building at Greensburg, so that they are eligible per IHSAA rules and regulations. But in this setting, we feel it's best right now to allow clubs, music. We can do a hybrid schedule if they need to come in for construction or welding or culinary and meet those needs. But I think right now, not utilizing sports is the right call. And also the research showed that most of the students who had left us for virtual setting weren't in the athletic realm as well.
So how will this kick off? Give us kind of the rundown of how you get enrolled and started.
It's great. So everything's kind of coming to a head all at once. We just had our virtual coordinator interviews last week, and Mr. Hunter sat down with the candidate yesterday, I believe.
Yep, and we did approve a candidate that we'll be taking to the board on Tuesday night to be our new coordinator of the virtual school, and that is Jennifer Bowles. That is probably a name that is familiar with people in the county. She was a counselor at North Decatur High School, and she, I think, is the person to help us get this program up and running. Great potential, I think, with Jennifer at the helm.
And in parallel with that, Scott Hirschauer, our Director of Technology, he's been working along with his staff to get a portal on our websites where you can come and get all those frequently asked questions. And so be on the lookout for that to launch the next couple of days, as well as just some general press coming out from our traditional channels associated with the school district.
All right. So if you are a traditional student now and want to become a virtual student still in the Greensburg system, is that something that's a possibility?
It's always a possibility. I mean, you can either do it with us or you can go somewhere else if you choose to do that. That's not what we're encouraging to do. We still feel like the school setting is the best place for kids. But, again, if you're going to choose to go somewhere else, stay with us and let us provide those services right here at home to the kids. Because, you can now enroll in a virtual school, and your actual school setting may be in Clarksville, Indiana, or it may be in Maryville, Indiana, or somewhere in Indianapolis. You don't have that person right here on site who can help direct you. And that's what we're going to have. We're going to have a classroom space at the Learning Center. That's where Jennifer's office will be. And if kids do need some personal attention, they can come on site and get that attention. Again, we're open to a hybrid type of situation. If a kid wants to take their math and English classes online, but they want to be in a construction class, we can work it out to where they can take that construction class probably at the high school. Again, scheduling all fits in. Everything's got to fit in. The pieces have to all fit together. And, we have a lot of different opportunities through the Project Lead the Way and the tech classes that we offer both at the junior high and high school. A lot of different options for kids. And I think this just kind of fits into our brand, Think Opportunity. Here's just another opportunity for kids. And I think when you look at all the options that we offer, really K through 12. It's just amazing the things that we can provide to kids right now, and that's why it's so important, because if we continue losing kids and we continue losing funding as we have this year, some of those programs we're really going to have to reevaluate. Can we afford to do them or not, or do we actually even have enough kids to offer all the programs that we have? Because there's a number there. When you have 700 kids at the high school, you may not be able to offer 90 different classes, because you can't fill 90 different classes. So it's one of those things. We really like where we're at curricular wise, really K through 12, really preschool through 12, and we want to be able to maintain all those things that we have, and I think this is just another option for us.
Now, with the virtual option as well, you are still following those guidelines, because I think people get, there's so many different career paths now that are laid out, and different degrees or diplomas, I'm sorry. So that's still possible, though, by doing this, if that's your choice.
Yeah, they still be following the same diploma guidelines. The class of 29, who, the eighth graders coming in with the new diploma track, they'll be a part of that. So that's all going to be part of that seal process, the diploma seals. We also have to kind of figure out the work-based learning component of this, and that's something that Indiana Online is trying to figure out, and how to work with the schools about that. We've also leaned on Franklin Community Schools with their virtual program. It's kind of helped us get off the up and going, and so I know it's probably still going to be somebody that we lean on, and we ask questions, and like, how are you guys doing this? And just like you would with any other situation, when you pick up the phone and call another principal and say, what are you guys doing here? We kind of have that person in this realm as well.
How was it chosen that you'd go with Indiana Online? Was that just the front runner as you looked throughout different processes, or?
Mike just mentioned, Franklin Community. Shelby Murphy is the principal of their virtual school, and that's who they partnered with throughout this year. And when you're launching a venture, you want to go with someone who's doing it,
the known path.
Yeah, the known path, and finding success. And Indiana Online, they're actually not a new element. Their bread and butter for many years has been helping schools work through summer school. So they have 35,000 students every summer who are taking classes, historically. But as they've grown into helping schools find the best path forward for them in terms of the virtual environment throughout the traditional school year, they now have over 5,000 students in the state that participate in their online classes. So we met with them. We had a great, Mike's actually had a couple different meetings with them now at this point, because the high school gets a little more complicated. But they really have a strong team there, a committed team who really have the students' best interests in mind, and in terms of how they communicate and work with the families. So we felt very confident with them as a candidate.
I think, over the last few years, we've heard a lot of horror stories about kids being involved in programs that don't really exist, and we want to make sure we didn't get wrapped up into something that wasn't going to really meet the needs of our kids. And I think Indiana Online they have the validity that they can deliver what they say they can, and that's why we really chose them.
What an opportunity to start in 6th grade, if that is your path, though, because that provides that consistency throughout your high school career if you choose to go this route as well.
Yeah, I think that's something that we're looking forward to. Is navigating this. We know there's going to be bumps in the road as we start down working through this, but having Jennifer on board, who has that counseling background, I think is going to be huge in understanding really of that pathway for the kids, and seeing that whole big picture of navigating and making sure that they're on track to graduation, starting at that 6th grade level. So that was a big plus for us in that hire.
Even kids that choose, just the homeschool approach, that we have here in our communities, we do all across the state of Indiana. It's an option for them as well to be part of the virtual school, rather than just where everything is placed on the parent to do all the teaching and everything. Now you're going to have those classes right there that can be taught by a certified teacher right there in your bedroom, kitchen table, wherever you might do the learning. But I think that is a real viable option for those who have chosen and will choose to homeschool their child.
Now, has a process been determined as far as for the enrollment in the fall, how you can go about doing that at this point, or are we still creating?
Yeah, so that's part of that website presence. Scott, our director of technology, he's been working with Skyward to set up that virtual registration. So the thing is, when you go in as a parent, if you're an existing parent in the school district and you're going to that registration, you just got to be very careful which button you select, because there's one that says online and there's one that's in person. So
Details, pay attention.
Yes, just make sure you're reading. You don't go in and quick click, because I've been through this a dozen times before. There are going to be a couple things to look out for, but there's a separate path in the website registration link when it goes live that it'll have that online. That's what you're looking for if you're looking for the virtual academy versus the traditional in person, and that'll be soon. Yeah.
Actually, within the next few days, we'll have everything up and going. At least that's what our hopes are. And we're going to try to flood the community and the area with the information that's necessary if you do have a desire to be part of our virtual learning process.
Now, and this is more my ignorance than anything probably, but right now you can, if you're physically going to school, you can transfer from, if accepted, transfer from one school to another district. With the virtual, does that part go away and you can enroll wherever?
Yeah, as long as you are an Indiana resident, you have to have proof of residency. So that's the one requirement. That's the burden on us. We have to collect that up front. You have to be an Indiana resident.
And parents will have to come in for an orientation meeting as well with their child. It's everything that we need, we will try to collect at that time, so that there's not if you don't want to come back in, you may not ever have to come back in again other than to register the next year. But, we want to provide as much direction as possible. And also parents need to realize it will be a little bit of a learning process for us, because we've never done this before, but it's not going to really deviate a lot from what we already do with online registration. I just remember when we started that a few years ago, I was one of those guys, this isn't going to work. Parents are not going to do this. We just need to continue doing the in-person registration. And quite honestly, probably about 80 to 90% of our parents, they prefer the online. They do the online, they get it done, and then we just deal with the cleanup at the end of the summer to get everybody ready to start school in August or
Talking
into
about
July.
registration specifically. Yeah.
I think it's amazing really to look and see how far, even go maybe back to 2019 before COVID, but how far the school systems have come just in that amount of time. Look at where you're at today with the virtual school, so.
Yeah, it's COVID was a shock to everyone's system, right, and every industry, and there were a lot of things that we all just did and triage and tried to survive, but there were also some middle ground moments where you realize, like, hey, actually we've learned something here about how best to communicate or connect with a family at home, or how students work best. So I think the work that we've done as a team throughout the course of the school year prepping for this is really kind of that best of both worlds. We want as many kids in the school buildings, obviously, doing whatever we can, but we also know that there's a part of our population that are looking for some alternative options here, and we've really put some good things in place. So yeah, we're going to learn some things, but I also feel very confident with what we've done, modeling after some successful programs. So we're kind of excited to jump in, and we'll see where it takes us.
As principals, what do you guys anticipate? Does this change anything for you guys?
That doesn't really change anything. Like echoing Matt, we still, we want kids in the building as much as possible, and I totally agree. There are circumstances, there are students that in the building isn't where they thrive, and so having this option for kids locally and in the surrounding areas is what we want. A student at the high school level, they would still graduate as a Greensburg virtual student, but they would walk in our normal graduation. And the only difference is when they would look at their diploma, it would say virtual high school versus Greensburg High School. But there's not going to be a distinction at the graduation ceremony. It'd be everybody walking together.
And it would also carry the same weight
Yeah.
as a Greensburg High School
Yeah.
diploma as well.
Yeah, because it's going to be certified by the state and everything. So, just looking at that process, I think it is a challenge and something that we're looking forward to, and we're just looking for another way to help our kids find success in the area.
And as a middle school principal, my mission is always building upon those elementary foundational skills and then getting them ready for that high school experience where they're starting to reach out and specialize in things that they're interested in. So, it's still the same when I'm working with Jennifer throughout the course of a year, checking in on those virtual students. My mission's still the same. How are we doing? We're making that progress for that eventuality where they're chasing down all those different pathways and graduation seals. So, yeah.
And it's taken, so when did you guys start on this process to be able to get this school going?
It was in the fall when we first started talking about it. And then I don't know. I met with Shelby. Actually, we met at the principals conference in November. Mike, I think you had some conversations around that same time. So it's been several months in the making.
Yeah, it really kind of started after our board retreat that we had in the fall. We had discussion. None of us really wanted to go in this direction because we want kids in the seat in the buildings. The board was the same way. But the reality, we've got kids who aren't going to be in the seat in the building, and we need to provide opportunities for them. So that really, from the direction of the board at that time, we really kind of went full speed with it and started our research on what would be the best way to do this. And there probably are other ways of doing it. I don't know, but I've always been one that believes find a model that works and replicate it to your own needs. And I think that's what we've tried to do with this. And we have a handbook. We have the registration materials all ready to go. We have the classroom space. We now have the new coordinator of the program in place. We're going to be ready to go this fall, full speed.
And as a superintendent, I think a great opportunity because you're able to offer anything for any student at this point. So if they're not someone that wants to be in that classroom, you now have another option.
That's always been our goal. 10 years ago, you never heard of a virtual school. You're either in school or you're homeschooled, probably for the most part. That option no one had. Now, other school districts are starting it. I think we're probably one of the first here in the southeastern Indiana area. We won't be the last. Probably as soon as we get up and running, there'll be some others that'll be following, because all of us, we've got to provide the options to our students that they want, that they need, that the parents choose. The one thing, this whole process with charters and vouchers and all this, it has opened up choice. Parents have a choice on where their kid is going to go to school or what method of delivery their child's going to have to get the education that they want for their child. And so this is just another option for us. It's just another opportunity.
I think it's amazing. It'll be something new and different, but you know what? Learning is for everybody, and you just have to find the right niche.
I think that's well put. It's just everybody has their own niche, and a high school with 800 kids walking around the hallways, that's not for every single child. It's for most, but some kids just function much better in a different environment, and so we're going to try to provide that different environment. But I think one thing, keep in mind, this program is going to be done with fidelity. We are going to make sure that the classes that the kids are taking are going to meet the needs of the kids. And if they need to come to our physical buildings to take a class, that's an option for them as well.
With it being local too, there's a lot more support that can be offered. It sounds like that, so that you've got Jennifer involved, but she's a counselor as well. So you can find the other support that maybe you don't find at other online schools, I guess.
One of the huge things for us is we have an outstanding tech department. Scott Hershire does a fantastic job running the bells and whistles, I guess, of our whole tech area. And this is another thing that he's going to be intimately involved in, is making sure that we have the technology to provide to the kids that's going to make this successful. We're going to provide a laptop for every child. That'll be provided by the school district that they'll pick up on their orientation day. The programming and all of that will be run through the Greensburg system. So it's going to be some more work on our part, but we definitely have the tech department led by Scott that can make that happen.
So rollout will happen soon. We're in the preparation for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This is the drop.
this
right
This
here.
is it. This is happening. It's the hot
You're
news at the
helping roll it
moment.
out right now.
That's it. So we'll anticipate that here in the coming days to hear when
You got the scoop.
we have the scoop. It's
That's
here.
right.
Sandy missed out. She's
That's
gonna be,
right.
she's gonna be sad about that. You guys are also looking forward though to the end of the school year. So this is rolling out, but we still have a lot of a wrap up to happen.
Yeah, this is the time of year where every principal is like trying to put a bow on this year and also looking ahead, and it's kind of a surreal experience at times. But yeah, we're a couple weeks away, both of us, from all the award ceremonies and the graduation.
Yeah.
And as you're also looking in the rearview mirror at prom and all the things that have just transpired. So
You're hitting all my
I'm
points
hitting
right
all
there.
the points. Well, Mike, go ahead. And go
No, I
to
was just saying, as Matt said, yeah, we just had a very successful prom and after prom, and a huge thank you to our parents and our community support with the after prom. Just the prize money and the donations and the gifts for the kids, it was outstanding, and just such a giving community, and so I'm so thankful for that, and just the support we have there. We have the musical this Friday and Saturday night for the high school, Legally Blonde. Final exams coming up that last week of school, May 19th and 20th for our seniors, 21st and 22nd for our underclassmen. Honor Day is the 22nd. We'll have a live stream for that as well, and graduation May 31st. And be remiss to say tonight's also our track and field county meet, and we have a unified track competition before the meet starts and before we have our senior night. So
For some people that may not know, tell them
Yeah.
what the unified track meet is. I think it's a very cool idea.
Yeah, it's our champions together. It's our students that are in our life skills classes, and so they have a partner from our champions together. So it's a great time. Kyle Nobby out at North Decatur runs the champions together, and Brendan Bridges, our head of our SRO team, runs champions together here at Greensburg. And so they've been working hard to get everything ready and get the kids ready and excited. And we're going to have that's going to be a great way to kick off the county meet tonight.
Very, very neat idea.
One really cool thing last week, too, just kudos to Mike and to his counseling staff at the high school. We had our signing day for all of our seniors, and it was really, really successful, where they had the ability to meet with some of the personnel from universities and colleges that they'll be attending, and also some of the manufacturers here where they're going to go directly into the workforce, but they were able to get some pictures of where they're going to go and what they're going to do, and there were some prizes and some treats for them, and it's just a really great day to say, thanks for a job well done at the high school, but thanks for really focusing in on your future here, and that's what that day was all about, is focusing on what they're going to do after that May 31st date.
I think too, what a cool experience for all of you though to look is signing day,
Yeah.
and see the wide variety of who's going where, and maybe they're going to work, maybe they're going to the military, but how cool just to see this wide array of students going in so many different aspects of life.
We had our honors banquet the other day too, and it's always great to see the kids and how hard they've worked and what they've accomplished. But even with kids that were receiving technical honors and academic honors diplomas, there was a handful that they'd already decided they were gonna go on and further their career in construction or welding or some of those vocational areas that probably 5-10 years ago they wouldn't have chosen those fields. But I think the exposure that they've gotten through our programs at the high school right there on site, I mean that's one of the great advantages to Greensburg High School as well, is you don't have to get on a bus and ride an hour to and from. We can offer all those programs right there in our building to our students, and we have a lot of great kids that they've taken full advantage of that, and they're not going to go away and spend a lot of money to go to college. They're going to go directly into the workforce or directly into an internship type program to where they're going to finish the learning process there and make a lot of money in the process of finishing that technical degree, and have a job waiting for them, that high-paying job waiting for them, and that's what, again, that's another opportunity that we're able to offer at the high school.
Great accomplishments are happening. You'll be wrapping up your 8th graders and moving them on
Yeah.
to the high school.
Yeah, so our awards program is that last student day. There will be a link available for anyone that's not able to attend, but the students are allowed to have a couple of their family members with them that morning. But yeah, it's there. We've got our Spring Arts Festival on May 15th, where bands and choirs and also our artwork is on display. So we're welcome to swing out on that Thursday night at 7 o'clock. We were just recognized again yesterday as, for I think it's our 3rd consecutive year, as a distinguished Project Lead the Way school for our technology and engineering classes. So, there's all these things that we're excited and celebrating, and those 8th graders, they're putting a bow on their journey through their middle school years, which no one typically looks back and says I was my best self during that experience. But I'll tell you, we were excited to where they are, and we've been celebrating all year their growth. They're ready for that high school experience, so we're excited to see the great things they do. I tell them every year that, yes, I'm excited where you are, but my favorite day of the year is that graduation day when I get to see you grabbing that diploma. So they're locked in, they're ready for it, as they like to say, and we're excited for them.
Emily, Matt mentioned it, and I was going to kind of wrap up with this. We did receive information yesterday from Project Lead the Way. Each of our schools, the elementary, junior high, and high school, were distinguished schools with Project Lead the Way, and our district was one of 10 districts in the state of Indiana that was recognized as a school district as a distinguished Project Lead the Way district. So that quite an honor.
Amazing work. Yeah.
Just amazing all the different things that we can offer to our kids.
So many great things happening at Greensburg.
We hope so.
Newest release coming is virtual school, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
It.
All right, guys, thanks for being in with me this morning.
You got to finish up here. You're going to hold up Sandy.
I thought I would get by without this.
No. We talked about online. We're talking about all of that type of learning. So I'm going to ask you a joke here that kind of relates to that. What are spiders really good at?
The interweb, the web.
You're knocking on the door.
You're knocking
I'm
on
knocking
the
on the door.
Yeah.
Surfing the web.
Surfing the web.
Yes. Sandy would have gotten that, by the way. She would have gotten that.
I'm going to give you credit. I think
I was going to say, I had web in there. That's partial credit at least, right?
Yeah. And that's such a terrible joke.
That is a terrible joke, yeah. They're all terrible. I've never had a good joke yet.
The end of the school year is coming. It could still happen. The big good joke. You're going to go out with a bang this year.
Emily, thank you very much for allowing us to come
you.
in and kick off new Greensburg Junior Senior High virtual school.
Very exciting. Thank you, guys. Have a great day. It's 8:02 on Tree Country 1330.